let's try this again. Oh, hello. Is this for real? Hang on. Are you for real, or are you just some troll trying to just mess around? Let's go and have a look on your account, see if it's genuine. That would be mad if you're got the same name in it. Let's have a look. But well, it can happen, I suppose. But it doesn't seem quite right. There's no followers or anything on it. It just seems a bit sus to me. I don't know. What is the chances of that, eh? Seems a bit sus, but yeah, I don't know. But anyway, hope you're doing well anyway. But yeah, if anyone's new here, make sure you subscribe. So I don't know, it's just there's a lot of just trolls and stuff on this account, on these, you know, then I go live and I just get all these random people showing up who are just trying to mess around. But okay, fair enough. But yeah, if you're scrolling, then I hope you have a good day, and yeah, just yeah, thank you for subbing, and yeah, I do upload videos sometimes as well, so I'm gonna try and get some videos out soon. So yeah, just what's everybody up to today? Everybody doing all right? It's just mad how that's the first person that's shown up in the live. It just seems a bit like they're just like pulling my leg or something. Where does that even come from? Like when someone says, I'm pulling your leg. Trying to find out what the origin of that is okay. It's just, you know, you're always going to get these kind of weird people and stuff, but not saying you're one of them. But the exact origin of pulling someone's leg is unknown, but a widely accepted theory suggests it comes from the Scottish phrase to drill someone's leg, or a similar practice in 18th and 19th century England of tripping a person by pulling their leg to make them fall and lose valuables. The phrase was first recorded in American English in the late 1800s and can also be seen as an American variation of the Scottish phrase to make a fool of someone. Yeah, so it's all about like making a fool of somebody kind of thing. That's, well, to pull someone's leg is like you're like joking, but it's like a kind of, yeah, you're trying to like kind of like prank somebody or whatever, and come on, I'm only pulling your leg sort of thing. It's like but yeah, is everybody okay? Welcome in here. Hit the like button, everybody. Thank you. But yeah, that's you learn something new every day, they say, isn't it? So that's something I've learned about pulling someone's leg. It's something about making a fool out of somebody. To like pull their leg, it's to, yeah. Anyway, but oh, is everybody doing all right then? Hope everyone's well. Thank you for the 2 likes. Just gonna stand up for a second. It's still a bit dull outside. It's quite impressive. Oh, yeah, I'll show you something quite impressive. I've got this like instrument thingy. We'll call it a mouth harp, a jaw harp, or a juice harp. Hello, Guess it's you. Good to see you again. How you doing? Aren't you from like Finland or something? It looks Finnish, that name actually. Yeah, well, it's got about 3 different names, so yeah. Yeah, so that's the instrument. Back getting better. What's getting better? Your back's getting better, you mean? Do you have some issue with your back? No, I mean England was in Finland when I started the account. Okay. It means craft networks. Okay. Right. Yeah. You learn something new every day. 2 things I like. So just like learning something about pulling someone's like with girlfriend and 2 kids. Okay. Fair enough. So so what are you doing? Are you in England on holiday or what do you mean? Or was you in Finland on holiday? I don't know, like they're into crafts, making stuff. Me too. Okay, cool. Yeah, what sort of crafts you're into? Hi Jeffrey, how you doing? Welcome in. I don't know, this Jeffrey person seems a bit, I don't know. Yeah, no, I was living with her in Helsinki. Okay. So what's your name then? Yeah, Helsinki. It gets a bit cold up there, does it? Cold and wet, I've heard. Finland. I got 2 accounts, one with the UK name, Jim James. Okay, Jim James. Okay then, yeah, freezing, I bet. Yeah, it's like be like perpetual winter. Not maybe not really. I've heard actually in Sweden it can get quite warm in summer, but yeah, I don't know about Finland. Like, does it ever get warm? I'm guessing it probably will sometimes, but yeah, it's like the other name was being spammed to my real name. All right, okay, fair enough. Yeah, is that some like one trying to dox or something like that? Was it, or what was going on with that? This loves Eastern Karelia. Is that how you pronounce it? What's that? I don't know what that is, but anyway, is everybody having a good day though? If anybody's new here, make sure you subscribe and turn the bell icon on so you don't miss notifications. Roman scams trying to use my name to apply for debt credit. Yeah, it's just a lot of those dodgy things out there, aren't there? Yeah. People trying to like catfish and all sorts of stuff, so yeah, it's just not good, is it? So I've taken a lot of information down, ID and personal details, right? Yeah, it's best to keep yourself safe, isn't it? Be careful what you display on social media, yeah. Yeah, you gotta be careful not to flash things such as, like, for example, if you've got like envelopes with like, kind of, if it's got like the your address on it and things like that, you've got to be careful not to show things like that. There's all sorts of things like that people will be looking out for, any clues about your address and things like that, and any personal details that you have, Be very careful about these things, because it could land you in some bother. Craftsmanship, oh yeah. It's like cross network, I make stuff with wood, welded metal, working stolen tiles, yeah. Yeah. So it's not like arts and crafts kind of stuff then. I was thinking when you said crafts work, I was thinking like other types of stuff. I suppose there's a lot of things that you can do. Have you ever done like resin? That's supposed to be quite fun. I think that would be quite fun to do. Oh, it's like handyman stuff, you mean? Yeah, but like doing like resin art still must be quite fun. You can like put on, yeah. I have cast clear resin, right? Yeah. Do you do like any sell any stuff then? Also, cold cast bronze. You mean gold cast bronze? Is that what you mean, or which is fiberglass and metal coloring, right? Do you do things like varnishing and stuff like that? And we're doing some like woodwork in college before, like we made like a table and stuff, and worked in a foundry with bronze. Oh, it reminds me of a level out of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 called Foundry. Yeah. Oh, yeah, foundry with bronze, right? So that's where they like melt like metal, isn't it? Yeah. It's like a kind of like furnace type of thing or something. It's pretty good to learn process work. Yeah, be a lot of like a learning curve, I'm guessing. Yeah. Yeah. It's like apparently you have to like, yeah, it has to be like a few hundred degrees like Celsius or something, isn't it, to like melt some types of metal. It's a very like high melting point or something. At the moment, working in Stoughton wood workshops, right? Tiling a shepherd's hut. Oh yeah, yeah. We did a bit of tiling as well, and we were doing like grouting and stuff like that. 1200 C for bronze, blimey. So that's got a high melting point then. So yeah, it's mad how they can get it so hot like that. Like how do they get it so hot to like that sort of degrees? Like, because you think of like, say, I don't know, like a fire, it wouldn't be like that hot, would it? Isn't it? Aluminium is lower, around 600 with an alloy, right? So does alloys decrease or is it just that, I don't know, it's like you're saying 600 with an alloy. So what would it be without an alloy? A blast furnace or oxygen gas, right? Yeah. It kind of reminds you of dark stuff like World War II. You know what I mean? That's all I'm going to say about that. Alloy brings the melting point down. Yeah, because it's like a mix of different metals or something. You were saying like steel is like, well, not steel. What's steel's melting point or something? Well, that'd be like iron, wouldn't it? With like, isn't steel? Hang on, you got steel's like a mix of iron and what was it? Isn't it like an alloy or something? I know. So just hi Anthony, how you doing? With bronze that was lead, but now it's silicone. Oh yeah, silicone. Silicone's like yeah. Just think of like implants, like breast implants and stuff. Often it's tin. Was it iron's 1538 C? All right. Okay. So about steel, is that lower, I'm guessing. I remember I'm sure like when I was in primary school, I remember they were saying that the only magnetic metals were iron and steel, but then in secondary school, then they said, oh, actually, cobalt and nickel are also magnetic as well. I don't know, is there any other ones that are magnetic? I don't know, but that's something that, those are the only ones I've heard of that are magnetic, but just, for steel, they add carbon or nickel, right? Yeah, like, apparently nickel's actually, I've heard that so carbon's not magnetic, is it? No. But it doesn't matter as long as like, I don't know. I mean, depends on the function, right? Yeah. What's that? Nanodium. Is that magnetic or something like that? Right. That's one that's a bit kind of not really familiar with. But like, I was talking about like how the Latin language is still quite relevant in terms of it still influences a lot of the English language because you think about all the names on the periodic table are all Latin derived, like magnesium, potassium, plutonium, titanium. They're all yeah, they're all Latin names, yeah. And there's a lot of other words that we use every day, like status quo, words like momentum. Those are all Latin words. So yeah, elementary names. Yeah, those are the names of for the different elements. Yeah, I remember in science when we were taught about the differences between elements and what is it, molecules and stuff like that. Latin is used for law. It's accurate, right? Yeah. Hi, reluctant gamer. Good to see you. How you doing? Hope you're well. So, but yeah, Latin is well, there's a thing called dog Latin or pig Latin or something like that. What is that about? Isn't that some kind of like? I'm just trying to remember like what that was all about, like dog Latin or something. Then we have German, French. Yeah, there's a lot of like Germanic and French influences, like words like I think with school, if I remember it, that's got like a kind of, well, it actually sounds kind of Dutch, but the word school, for example, also words like schedule, yeah, scheme, these are all like Germanic influenced words, aren't they? So yeah, dog Latin is a code, right? Capitalized text, it's a symbol. Okay. Yeah. What do you mean? You on about the dog Latin? Yeah. Yeah. It's just like, so what did they use that in? Was it like kind of? Oh, is it royal? Was it royal famille? Belgium, German? What's that about? Belgians like don't they speak like, what is that, Flemish or French or something? For non-legally binding posters. Okay. Okay, but I heard like Flemish is like a kind of variation of Dutch or something like that. But some speak French, I think. Wasn't that guy, what's he called? What was he called? The mustache guy. I think he was from Belgium, but I think he spoke German. Sorry, he spoke French. It was part of the Austrian-Hungarian Empire, right? Austrian-Hungarian Empire. Yeah. I was looking into this thing on like, Bohemia, the Bohemian Forest. because I was like, about the whole sort of what was it that it's all like borders between Germany and Czech Republic or something, and there's this whole kind of like, yeah, kind of like, it's like right on that border of like, what's kind of odd is how you've got, say, Czech Republic, and then you've got Austria, but like they call Czech Republic as Eastern Europe, even though it's technically about the same, as like Austria. So, I mean, it's not geographically like Eastern Europe really, but because then you've got like Russia, which is way out, like, like if you count, like the western part of Russia, that goes way out. So, yeah, but when they're talking about like, I guess more culturally like Eastern Europe, but it's like, it's like how some people don't consider Texas as a southern state, even though technically it is. It's one of the most southern states, but yeah, Slavic countries. But like, I was looking into like the whole, yeah, Skoda's made in Czech Republic. Yeah, if I remember, isn't it owned by Volkswagen or something? I'm sure I remember it was owned by Volkswagen because they have some similar cars actually, if you've noticed. Like I noticed that one of them, I think it was the Volkswagen Up, but they have the same thing, like the same designer. I don't know if maybe it's the same designers or something, but they look like pretty similar, some of them. But then again, like you've got some cars that have a similar look. Like for example, I noticed like the Ford Galaxy, and there was another one called I think it was the Volkswagen. Was it Charan or whatever it's called? And then there's another one called Seat Alhambra, I think it's called. They all have the same design, so they must have the same designer or something. Yeah. Yeah, Ford. Is it Ford? No, it's a Ford Galaxy, and yeah, I think it was it. Is it a VW Charan or something? But let me just check it. I think it's VW. Yeah, it's a VW Charan. But you look at it and it's like, I don't know. Is Ford Galaxy still going? I don't know, but. But funny the thing is, right, I always used to think of like the like a Ford is like a kind of British car. I don't know, like it has like a British feel to it. A lot of the Ford cars, like especially like Ford Fiesta, Ford, like those ones like Ford Mondeo, like Ford Escort. They had like a very British kind of feel to them, and yeah, but whereas some of them like Ford Mustang, Ford, they have more of that kind of Henry Ford. It merged with GM, right? So when did that happen? So I remember like, yeah, General Motors. It wasn't like Opel. The name that was like the European version of well, like the kind of rest of Europe. That's the version of like Vauxhall basically, but General Motors. So like it's an American company apparently, but yeah. So it's like a conglomerate sort of thing, basically. Ford has factories in Europe, yeah. But I'm talking about the actual designs and stuff, and like, I did see somewhere that Britain was like part of the design, or at least they were designed for British roads. I'm guessing a lot of them, or Ukraine, right? But they don't. Some of those cars don't feel like American cars, if you get me. Like American cars, you think of as like Chevys, Pontiacs, that kind of stuff, really. Like I said, Ford Mustang. Like Buicks, stuff like that. Like what other ones is there? There's loads of them. Chrysler. Yeah, Ford was Detroit, right? But yeah, I remember there was a game that I used to play called Ford Racing, and it was all Fords. It's called the Rust Belt now. All right. Yeah, it's just a really rundown place now, isn't it? Because a lot of like it went down, didn't it? Like it became a slum. A lot of it. I've seen like some videos where they'd be going through like Detroit and showing how bad it is as the Democrats moving manufacturing offshore, right? So you think it's like a political thing or something like? The Democrats, they destroyed Detroit. I'm a poet and I don't know it. Destroyed Detroit. Made a little decision back in 2010 that everyone said was risky. Let's just say it's been paying my bills ever since. What the hell is that? It's not some like crypto thing, is it? Hardly anyone was in crypto back then, but it's like Bitcoin started in 2008, but anyway. Possibly sales pitch. What? And about what Anthony's saying, or we'll see what he has to say about what made him pay his bills. But people are always going to say something's risky, aren't they? I mean, there's a risk to everything, I guess. Crypto sales guy. Yeah. What are your thoughts on crypto? I think it's just, I don't know. I just see it as like a bit of a Ponzi scheme, really. But yeah, I pulled lower back from coughing. Right. Oh no, that's not good. I was thinking something about, like pensions, right? When they give out the pensions to people, that's kind of like a Ponzi scheme, isn't it? Because you're not getting paid for the money that you put into it. You are getting paid the money that other people have put into it, if you get me. Like, so you're paying for other people's pension or something. So it's kind of a Ponzi scheme, really, isn't it? Simon Dixon is the guy to listen to on crypto. Or really, I don't know. I just find it all a bit kind of dodgy, and I don't know. But what's this? Was tinkering with blockchain cold in 2010 before it was cool? Now everyone's suddenly a crypto expert, right? That was right at the beginning of it, but yeah. So yeah, so they were saying Britain's state pension Ponzi scheme. So people are calling it a Ponzi scheme, basically. That saying how it's basically how the basically you're not actually being paid for the what you've put into it. You're paying for other people's pension. So what'll happen is, say, like once the pension pot runs dry, then all the people that have put their money in, they're going to end up getting screwed over, I think. And the thing is, they're actually making it like you're having to wait longer and longer to get your money out. So it could just end up being, that's why they're trying to basically increase the age that you have to work to get your pension. So then the people at the end are just going to end up being screwed over. Those at the beginning have got lucky or something. but didn't act on it. Okay, right. Okay. Well, yeah. If we'd have just even put in, like, say, a grand or two back when Bitcoin was popping off, I could have been a fucking millionaire. Oh well, but we would never have known, would we? That's the thing. It's like, but it's just one of those things. Some people are going to get lucky, and some people are not. 95 years old. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, yeah, it's a giant Ponzi scheme. Basically, it's the state pension. Because eventually that money's going to end up running out, and then it's all it's all going to be money that you just put into it for nothing. So yeah, BTC and ETH. Okay, hi Joshua. I'm all right, thank you. How are you doing? I'm just saying this whole state pension thing is like, people think that they're putting money in that they're going to get out of, but actually they're paying for, like, other people's pension, and then the people before are paying for your pension, So eventually the pot's just going to, like, run dry, and then, like I said, because otherwise people are going to have to be working and working longer and longer, because just how the economy is working, and everything's just kind of becoming so inflated now, So the actual value of the money that you'd be receiving is just, like, going to be fuck all. Like, it's all like, the whole system is a big Ponzi scheme, really, isn't it? When you think about it, things like even things like buying a house, to then sell on and make profit or something. I don't know. It's like, say you buy it cheap, and then then it's like you get in early and then you sell it on, and then it's basically what they call it, like a zero-sum game. Someone's winning, but then someone else is losing out on that. This is kind of pretty much like the definition of a Ponzi scheme. Someone has to lose in order for someone to gain. There's no actual value being created. It's just parasitic, basically. You're just basically, like, harvesting value off other people without actually receiving anything. Without giving anything. You're just basically this sort of this society is just parasitic, I'd say. It's yeah, I know, it is depressing. It is. It's when you realize how fucked up it all is. Like I said, earlier in the live, I need to take my own advice and not focus on all this stuff. But sometimes I like to talk about it just to kind of, because it is something that people need to be aware of, something that people need to, be aware of how it all works, and learn to navigate it, I guess. Try and find a way to navigate it, and but then it's like, if that knowledge isn't actually benefiting you, then, because people say knowledge is power, but then knowledge is only power if you know how to use it, kind of thing. That's what I'd say. Knowledge by itself there's no power. There's potential there, but then unless you know how to use the power, unless you know how to use the knowledge, knowing how to apply it is the important part, But yeah, so what we're supposed to do then, I guess the point is to buy appreciating assets. That is what you can take from this: buy appreciating assets as opposed to buying tons of depreciating assets. Things like, supercars. There is no point in buying all that stuff, I don't think. Who cares about all that stuff? It's like, I'd say it would probably be better. You'd probably be better off buying some like old classic car because they're gonna hold value a lot better than some like friggin' Bugatti because they're not collectible. They're not. They don't have the classic car status. They're not vintage or anything like that. They are just, yeah. What's that? Mathematical fractal, and if you understand the pattern, the input calls you be a new part of the fractal or food for the whole thing knowledge, right? But yeah, so what was I saying about like I don't know, I kind of lost my train of thought there, but it's the thing. Sometimes it's like I'll then have to break off and then try and I don't know what was I even thinking about. Just talking about the whole system and how to like leverage like kind of appreciating assets and stuff like that is what I was thinking about. Like instead of a bunch of depreciating assets, like these fast cars, you're trying to try and look cool, but then it's not very smart, I don't think, unless you're gonna like rent out these cars or something and get some value from that, then they might be a good investment, because you could say rent it out every weekend or something and just whenever it you're free to be able to rent it out or something. Let other people, there's a site that you can use, I think, to do that, but obviously it's not guaranteed or anything. But if you can do that, then you could say just buy one of these cars and then, you could, I don't know, do you have to put like deposits down or something to buy them or something? I don't know how they all work, but you could say finance a car and then use the money that you make from fucking renting it out and then to pay it off basically. So that is maybe possible to do, but speed cars one mate got from school got a BMW M5 V10 for about 14k. Really? Yeah, I'm talking like when someone buys a friggin' Lambo. Usually, I mean, you'll probably be on credit, but still, it's like probably like 1,000 a month or so, whatever it is. I don't know. Actually, it's probably a lot more than that. They probably cost you like thousands of pounds every month to pay it back or something. So it's a massive liability. But if you can like rent them out or something and offset some of those costs or something, but a lot of people aren't really thinking about that. 12 to 15 miles per gallon, that is really low. Yeah, I think my grandmother thought that anything below about 40 miles a gallon was a bit kind of pathetic, really, and just to call them gas guzzlers. Like they were like just really like a lot of these like American like muscle cars and stuff like that with really just like these big engines, but they're also just these really bulky cars that are just their engines don't really run very long or something without. Yeah, it's flashy, showing you can afford to spend on fuel, so must be a high status. Man, it's pretty dumb logic. Yeah, because the type of people that would fall for that are broke. You're just going to attract a bunch of broke people. It ends up just becoming people think of this whole thing as fake it till you make it. But in reality, it doesn't really work like that because you're having to do all this stuff to pretend you have all this value. But those that actually have real value don't need to be faking it. That the results speak for themselves. If they've got like some kind of business that's thriving or whatever, but people think that they can just get into high circles just by having expensive shit, but you're just going to be looked at as a joke. You're going to be like, so you just spent your whole life savings on that? Are you stupid? It works to get influence on some level for teenagers and dolly birds, I guess, but then what you're saying is that, like, it might attract some woman, but then it's like, what you're telling me is that you're just going to, like, basically, you're just going to, like, sacrifice all this money just to attract some materialistic woman, or not even a woman, just some bird or whatever. These, like come on, like, it's a status trap, yeah. But the thing is, the people who do better in the long run are the people who actually are smart about it, and, like, they see the value of delayed gratification as opposed to instant gratification. This is where the real successful people are, like, they get the advantage after, saving up that money. Say you just start off with, like, a beater car that's just really, like, just cheap to run if you need a car at all, and then you would save up all that money that you would have spent, and then eventually you can get to the point where you can actually afford these things. But like I said, unless you can actually, like, rent out the car, and then, if you've got ways of, like, doing these things, like, now one thing you could do is, like, buy a sort of car that's a bit run down and then do it up, and then, that's one thing that you could do, but it's just, yeah, like, there's a lot of just really kind of, like, I don't know why anyone would think that attracting some materialistic kind of person like that is some flex, oh wow, I got with this bird who's attracted to me because I've got a Lamborghini that I bought on finance, because she's too stupid to realize that I'm actually broke. And is that really a flex? Is that really something to be proud of or something? Because anyone with any kind of, like, level of maturity would not, like, would just see through it, basically. So they just attract a bunch of immature kind of women, or young women, who just don't know any better, and and I think that's some kind of flex. Now, some people will, like, rent out, like, fancy cars to try and sell courses and stuff, and that's another problem as well with, like, the whole grifting culture. The whole thing of, look at me, I've got this thing, but some people are saying that it's dying off. I don't know about that. There's always going to be someone out there to try and grift and lie, and there's always going to be vulnerable people out there, who fall for it. So all people can do is try and educate, but there's always going to be some people who slip through the cracks and fall for these BS scams and grifts. Especially people who are in a vulnerable position, right? These are the people that they drop any, like, common sense, because when your emotions take over, logic and reason goes out the window. So when you are lonely or you have some pain or whatever, you're not going to really be so much thinking about, generally speaking, people don't oftentimes question these things as much, because they're just desperate. They just want a way out of the problem. So what they do is they'll just buy one of these courses because they're just desperate, even if it costs them a lot of money. It's like, well, at least I know that it's going to get me to become a millionaire overnight or something. It's like, no, it's not. So then they end up making their life even worse, because now they've lost a bunch of money. Most of the time they ain't getting it back, because there's oftentimes this stuff isn't even illegal, which I think things need to change. It's like, I don't know, because these courses and stuff, they're preying on vulnerable people, and yet a lot of it's not even illegal. Like, they can technically do it, but then they have their loopholes and whatever, and they can grift and, you know, do all these dodgy things, but then never be held accountable for it. You see some of these people like Tai Lopez or whatever, or for example, there's a lot of these people out there who, no, they're still at it, still trying to grift. And yeah, they might not be so successful with it now, but it's like, but yeah, it's mostly based on core finance and debt. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like you'd be putting yourself in debt just to then look cool, whatever. Maybe for the odd person it works, but I just don't think it's worth it. Any like, you know, person with like, you know, more than like a couple of brain cells, or, you know, they're gonna see through it. It's like, yeah, you know, like you can show all these flashy things, but then, yeah, but the thing is that people who are actually wealthy usually are quite stealthy about their wealth, right? They don't flash it all the time, a lot of them, because they don't really want to be, it could be that they don't really want to be a target. They want to try and stay a bit low profile about it. And also they don't buy a bunch of material things because they'd rather prioritize things that actually matter to them. So yeah, it's so the irony is that these people are actually the broke ones, the ones that have all these status symbols, but to me it's like a low status, actually. It's like you look at a lot of these, like, people are actually genuinely well off. Oftentimes they look pretty modest. You know, they don't actually look really like they're any different. Like, they blend in and they're just kind of, you probably wouldn't even really know. Yeah, so it's the short-term mentality that is the problem. That's what people get trapped in, is this short-termism. It's this whole thing of like, I need to try and put out this, you know, like impression or whatever to attract people, and it's like, but it just ends up screwing you over. And then you get the people who will just like sell their soul for money and whatever and fame. But then there's a problem of doing that as well, because you're just putting your time into things that you don't actually enjoy, and you're just doing it for the fame and the money. Maybe it's to try and attract someone, but if that's the whole reason you're doing it, then you've already failed, because, you know, like you're probably not gonna, it's probably not gonna work out. You're just gonna give up because you hate doing it, or you're gonna try and cut corners and be a scammer, and then try and do dodgy things, do extreme things for fame, which you then eventually you're probably gonna be discredited, and your life is gonna go to shit. So that's the problem. You get these people like, for example, Jack Doherty, right, who's a complete degenerate. Now, he could have just kind of like, you know, been happy at a certain point and just kind of made more wholesome content, but he would just continue to make more and more outrageous content that's just absolutely just pathetic, getting himself in all kinds of trouble because he's just trying to chase all this clout. And now he's just been completely like deplatformed off almost every platform out there. So now it's like, you know, he's completely screwed. Like, but that's what you get when you have this short-term mentality and you're just trying to quickly rise to fame and glory, but you're going to end up burning a lot of bridges. You're going to end up screwing yourself over, Just pathetic. But I think the part of the problem is when people actually watch this stuff, because all these people are watching this content, they're actually engaging with it, and they're helping it to get pushed out more. So people need to stop watching all that drama stuff, really, and just. But then that's not going to happen, is it? So, but yeah, but vanity is a big part of it. This whole thing of trying to put out a certain image of yourself, and it's the ego, and there don't seem to be a whole lot of like humble people who are at the top, because it's generally the people who are not humble and they're very like arrogant and whatever, who are actually the types that try and force their way to the top. But like I said, oftentimes it's short term, and it's not gonna like leave a lasting impact. So it's like, I don't know, like you got people like Mr. Beast, and there's been a whole like controversy over that, and I don't know how long he's gonna be relevant for. I remember someone was saying that in 5 years he's not going to be relevant, which looks like it, maybe it won't be. Who knows, really, but the chances are someone else will come along, because what he's doing isn't exactly that kind of, I don't know, like what is his brand kind of thing. What you have to have something that makes you kind of very unique, and that you're like one of a kind, but it's like, and you have to be authentic about it as well. Because a lot of this stuff of him doing all these, like whatever kind of charity stuff or whatever, and a lot of it's all BS, and it's just probably just some tax write-off. This is another thing as well, where even when it seems like some of these people are doing good things, they use it to write off their taxes. So it's like, they wouldn't actually be doing it out of their own money, They would just, it would just be a way to write off taxes and to promote themselves and make them look good and virtue signal, So basically, writing off taxes so that they can virtue signal. Hi, John Wick. I'm just having a bit of a rant about things at the moment. Just like how you got these, like, for example, you got the big YouTubers trying to, oh, look, I'm going to give £1 million to some random person or whatever. Maybe not 1 million, but you know what I mean. And it's not actually genuine, is it? It's not like they would just give 1 million out of the goodness of their heart to somebody. I'm not saying that they shouldn't necessarily do that, but it's just the fact that they will, it will seem like they're doing something good, but really they're just trying to look good as like a kind of stunt, and they're also writing off taxes, because it'd be like considered as a business expense, right? Which means that they have to pay less tax. So like basically what happens is every year you have your tax. So you submit your expenses and your profits and all that. And then any business expenses could be like, well, some of that could be taken off your tax. So yeah, so that's one of the ways that they get around paying tax. Or at least they don't pay a whole lot. I mean, there's a thing called corporation tax or something, but it's yeah. I think it's if you're earning over a certain amount, then you have to pay a tax. But a lot of these expenses can be used to write off the tax. like for example, you need a new computer or you need a new this and that. So yeah, I'm just very like, could be like quite cynical about a lot of this stuff. Let's see what people say about it. See if people agree about that thing. But yeah, a lot of these people just, you know, it's like they need a way to, you know, reduce their taxes and stuff. Mr. Beast, giving money is tax write-off. So yeah. It says here, your tax-deductible donation allows us to continue supporting our causes and those in need. Mr. Beast is committing to donating 100% of his revenue from the Beast Philanthropy YouTube channel to the operation of the philanthropy, including the revenue made from our merch sales. So, yeah, I'm just wondering, like, say, how it all works, like, with, like, does he, like, just, whether he uses it as a tax write-off or something. Does Mr. Beast use donation money as donation, or was like gifting as a tax write-off? It says, what's this? Beast has to withhold 30% to remit to the IRS on your behalf. That's the law. And you file your tax return and pick the winnings you made. Hang on. Yeah, so I'm just wondering, like, see what it says about all this stuff, really, about, obviously, I want to make sure I'm, you know, being factual and everything, instead of it just being like a hit piece type of thing, but see what it says about paying taxes, because I just know a lot of people will use things as like a write-off. They'll use money made from the business, like, to then basically, you know, use that. So they'll be like, oh, well, we use the profits made to give to, you know, to give that away or something. But then if it's all like part of the Mr. Beast business or something, then that would be used as a way to write off taxes, I would have thought. I don't know, but what's this? Mr. Beast gave Chandler an island worth $800,000. Why did Chandler sell it? Taxes. So, like, you heard about that, where apparently Mr. Beast gives away an island, but then, you know, it wasn't as simple as that, where it's like when they got the island, then they had to sell it or something because there was taxes to pay on it or something like that. Yeah. But I don't really think that, you know, he's doing it out of the goodness of his heart anyway. Like, because it's all about PR, isn't it? Really, it's all about, you know, trying to look good. So even if they are doing that, it's not because they're trying to look good and be like, you know, they're doing something good, because would they need to be sharing that to everybody? You could say, well, that could inspire others to do that. I mean, but is that the actual reason that they're doing it? You know, they're actually trying to just look good and just like, look at me, I'm donating all this money to people and helping out people and, you know, being nice or whatever, you know. Um, yeah, there was this thing, why you don't want to win a prize from Mr. Beast. So yeah, it was just like a private island that worth $1 million. It's just, yeah, I heard there was this whole scandal about it, and what's this? The real reason Mr. Beast gives money away. My viewers clearly like to see me giving money away, so I look at it as an investment into my channel, which makes more money than I give away. Yeah, exactly. So even if it's not like a tax write-off or something, it's like he's not doing it with like the intention of like, I just want to do something good. Because if it was really about giving all his money away, then well, it's like he has like fucking tons of money, doesn't he? You know, like he's making like far more money than he's giving away. So, like, you know, he away like 90% of his earnings and still be doing all right. You know, so I don't buy that he's doing it for philanthropic, you know, reasons. It's just, you might say I'm being a bit harsh or whatever, but it just, yeah, the whole philanthropy thing a lot of the time is just, it's just a way to virtue signal, or it's a way to write taxes off, or both, you know? Because like I said, you know, you could just, let's say your business was, I don't know, like, let's say your business expenses were like a certain amount. Let's say you give away 100,000, and then your business was making like a certain amount of money, let's say like $1 million or whatever. You could use that expenses like off your tax. Let's say you was getting taxed, I don't know, whatever percentage, but you could use that towards like deducting your tax. So yeah, I mean, but like I said, even if they don't do that, they're just, look at me, I'm donating this money that, you know, look, it makes me look good. And yeah, giving away an island that's, you know, that is not actually something that you can just live on for free, you know. The guy had to like sell the island or something. There's all a bunch of BS or something. I haven't looked too much into it. I just remember I was talking with someone about it and how Mr. Beast is just a, well, I wouldn't really say I can't really say he's a fraud or anything, but he's, some of the things that he's done is questionable to say the least. I don't really watch channels like that because they're just all fake and just. But yeah, but it's like you get these people who, it's like, you know, they're all like promoting, like, for example, these things like honey, and maybe some of these people should have just known better, but they're just so quick to jump on these sponsors and things, right? That they don't actually know a lot about it. They'll jump on, you know, whatever new supplement or whatever without really doing any investigation into it. A bunch of sellouts, you know, they just, because that honey thing turned out to just be like remember it got completely destroyed, you know, a few months ago. It was like, it was this big like thing where they found out that they were like ripping people off and stuff with it, and like where they would basically be like basically just like some affiliate thing where they would take most of the profits, but they wouldn't tell you about that. Like they would basically change the link to their own link, and that way they can basically, it's like their own coupon link that they've used as some kind of affiliate where they get the profit. You don't get the discount that you're supposed to. It's just so dodgy. It's yeah, because I remember there was a thing where the link changed at the last minute, and it was just so dodgy. Like there's just, so it completely got kind of exposed as just a, yeah, kind of like a malware type of thing, really. But I remember someone was warning me about that a while ago, actually saying, "Oh yeah, don't bother using that. It's malware. It puts malware on your computer or something like that." Well, I didn't end up getting it, but yeah, looks like he knew what he was talking about. There was something off with it. But there's a lot of these like things out there that people promoting them. It's like there was that whole Athletic Greens thing, and it turns out that it's just a proprietary blend of just bullshit. It's like you don't even know what the amount of things that are in it and what nutrients it really has in it, and turns out that it probably doesn't have that much nutrition in it. People are spending all this money just to have expensive pee, you know? It's just pathetic. And all these people just promoting it like it's some kind of, but yeah, loads of people, and there's this friggin' Andrew Huberman that's still promoting that bullshit, you know? I think he's still promoting the AG1 supplement. It's like, fuck off. I don't know why people would even still watch these fucking grifters, you know? They've been completely exposed. I guess they're just too oblivious, I think. There's a lot of questionable things that have been promoted, and, you know, like they're just, yeah. We've got to just stop kind of following these people, really, because they're not doing it to try and help people and give people good information. They're just there to sell bullshit products and just sell you out, basically. You know, they don't care about you. They just see you as a you know, consumer, and who'll just buy whatever shit that they'll sell, and you know. But yeah, people should really know better about these things, really. It's like there was that whole BetterHelp thing as well. I got a phone call, okay. It's like this BetterHelp, right? And they're all promoting this shit, you know? I think there's still a few people that promote it, right? Which is crazy, because hasn't it been exposed as being some kind of BS or something that's like... A lot of people have been complaining that it's actually useless, basically. Like, they get people that are not even qualified to be doing it. They're just a bunch of charlatans who have absolutely no idea what they're doing. They're not helping people. They're just, you know, it's just, how do they get away with it? It's just, I'm guessing maybe it's just that, like, they don't have to, like, pay these people a lot of money, so they're just kind of, I don't know. It's probably all to do with, like, keeping costs down and stuff. But then they pay these fucking influencers to promote it. Diarrhea of a CEO. Oh god, that guy has been exposed, hasn't he? As apparently he's been like outed as well, he's possibly like some agent or something, like some kind of spy or something like that. I don't know for sure, but I think that is plausible. It's like how he's got all these connections and stuff. Like he has that connection to like Putin and whatever, and just it all seems a bit, yeah, something's off or something. And the guy has like really like no personality whatsoever. Like, how has he even like got big? Like, what? How did he even get access to all these people? Like, or apparently it was something to do with like him pretending to be some, I don't know, something that he's not or something. One way to put it, yeah. But oh, I was thinking of the other one. I was thinking of what was it called? Lex Friedman. Sorry, I was getting confused. Lex Friedman. The Diary of a CEO. He's a fucking yeah. They're all a bunch of like charlatans. A lot of them. But that fucking Lex Friedman is just yeah. So I was thinking of these like podcasts and stuff. Yeah. Taking taurine is debatable. Yeah, that's one of these supplements. I do take beta alanine and creatine. Those are pretty much the only two supplements I'm taking at the moment, but I was looking into like beetroot and how there's supposed to be some benefits of that. So I might look more into that. Wanna be psychologists. Yeah, there's a lot of those type of people out there that acting like they're. The problem is that people like leaning on their PhD, right? They'll call themselves a doctor, yeah, because it's been exposed. Have you seen the whole Doctor Mike Israetel thing where he's like, the problem isn't that like it's like okay, yeah, he's made mistakes, but then the problem is that because the thing is that like his his ego and his this whole thing of like his reputation of being this kind of smart guy who's got this super IQ and him kind of like using that as some kind of leverage. And it's just pissing people off because he oftentimes gets a lot of things wrong, whether it's deliberately or not. But he's trying to use his authority of I'm smarter than you as being like, I know more than you, therefore listen to me, listen to what I'm saying. I'm right, you're wrong, and it's like, it's a way of trying to shut up critics. It's a way of having people just believe in a whole bunch of bullshit, and so then he can promote a whole bunch of bullshit to people, bullshit workouts. And the thing is, he overcomplicates workouts to try and sound smart. And it probably does more harm than good. People watch his shit. Are they actually going to find anything useful? Probably not. All it does is convolute things and just he adds these really fancy kind of workouts that just are completely pointless, stupid movements that don't actually make any sense, just to try and seem complicated and just like it's some kind of secret trick to get more gains or something. Yeah. Not heard of Lex. Gets tedious basic opinion consultants. Who are you talking about now? But basically, Mike Israetel, goes on about being a, what is it, sports? Was it not sports like what is it, something like sports scientist or something like that, right? That's his like label. But then they'll say, oh, but a PhD isn't actually like what you think it is. It just means like it's like a driving license or something that it's just as like a basic requirement but it's like when you're leaning so heavy on something as like, I have this degree, I have this, calling yourself a doctor and stuff like that. Whenever someone puts doctor on their name who isn't a doctor, run a million fucking miles. They are just trying to like be some charlatan who's not got any kind of they're not actually really what they portray themselves to be. Yeah, I've not. I did busking last week. Hello, Jerry. How you doing? Creatine, 2 to 3 grams, but that's another cost. Creatine doesn't cost that much, I don't think, but depends on how much you've got. But I take a lot more than that. Actually, I take quite a bit of creatine. It's said to have other benefits as well if you take more than a certain amount, like for brain health and stuff. So that's something to look into. But then some people are concerned about it could be bad for the kidneys or something. But yeah, it's going all right, the Joe Hart thing. But apparently good for tendons, hydration, and cardio. Yeah, because it's said to help with like recovery and things like that, so you can work out harder and longer and recover more. And yeah, so I use creatine and yeah, it's but yeah, it's good for like high intense cardio, like short bursts of explosive cardio. Can be good for that. However, long distance cardio, not too sure. Is you're talking about creatine though, but I've been looking at like beetroot. I don't know whether I should get some beetroot, like whether that be beetroot juice or whatever. I don't know where I would buy it really, but some say it's good for like VO2 max and stuff, which would be good if you're looking to like improve sports performance, especially in like cardio. So let's see what it says. Beetroot powder, VO2 max. So I'd rather have the powder. I don't know, just powder's got a more like holistic kind of nutrition, but whereas juice would be more kind of just like an extract, really. But so yeah, there's one here like how beetroot powder boosts your VO2 max. So it's about nitric oxide. Have you ever heard of nitric oxide before? Because that's a thing that you can use to boost your VO2 max. And I'm not sure if it helps with recovery as well, but it's said to help with VO2 max. So it can help with cardio, helping you to go faster for longer. Because the idea is that you want to try and increase oxygen and like so you can put out more like sort of more, what is the word, like more watts of energy. £8 a month, good for brain. Yeah. So like beetroot. So yes, it says here nitric oxide acts as a vasodilator, relaxing and widening your blood vessels. This results in increased blood flow. More blood is pumped to your working muscles. Optimal oxygen transport. Your muscles receive a greater supply of oxygen and essential nutrients. Increased muscle efficiency. Research indicates that nitric oxide can significantly reduce the amount of oxygen your muscles require to produce energy. So not only can it like improve like oxygenation, whatever, but it's like saying that you don't actually need as much oxygen, according to this, that because the problem is when you need too much oxygen, then yeah, as soon as your mitochondria, the cell's powerhouses, work more efficiently, you expend less energy for the same output, which is crucial in endurance events like running, cycling, and triathlon. I might have to get some of this stuff. Yeah. So let's see. Lower perceived exertion. With improved oxygen transport and muscle efficiency, the effort during training feels less demanding. This reduction in the rate of perceived exertion, RPE, makes it mentally and physically easier to push yourself harder and longer, leading to quicker physiological adaptations and VO2 max improvement. So there you go. So let's just see, like, I don't know if I should buy some, but I have to see how much these things cost. But but yeah, basically it's talking about increased watt production, reduced lactic acid buildup, faster recovery. Yeah, I've heard about yeah, oxalates are not meant to be good, but I've also heard that like if your gut microbiome is good, then it can deal with it well or something. I don't know. Like if your diet is a bit shit, then I mean, let's see like about oxalates. Um, let's see good gut microbiome. Um, good for breaking down oxalates. But I mean, it would probably be good to like use it as like a sort of, if say you needed it for an event or something, I guess, where you needed to have a bit of a boost. Yes, a healthy gut microbiome is crucial for breaking down oxalates, with key bacteria like Oxalobacter, formigenes playing a significant role. Lactobacillus and Bifidobacterium species also contribute by degrading oxalate salts and preventing their absorption into the bloodstream, which can help mitigate kidney stone formation and other health issues. So, yeah, so the point is to focus on having a healthy gut microbiome. So having lots of fiber and things in your diet. I think maybe the problem is when people start eating tons of these foods after having, say, like a really bad diet. That might be where some of these problems happen, suddenly increasing it to really high levels, which I think is not a good idea. I don't think it's really a good idea to just suddenly change up your diet to something completely different. Yeah, obviously your body has to take time to adapt to these things and build up that gut microbiome for that. Yeah. So yeah, it's called Oxalobacter formigenes or something. It's they were saying about butyrate as a byproduct of healthy gut bacteria. I've heard about butyrate, and apparently it's supposed to help with mood or something. So yes, that's another benefit of. So it's always talking about fiber being bad if you have too much of it, but there's a lot of benefits to a high fiber diet though. So yeah, it's just one of those things that's kind of. I think there's a balance that we need to try and find really, but someone was saying about dry fiber being the problem rather than like in more of like a kind of natural form, like in a vegetable or something like that, or fruit. Where if you dry something out, then it takes it out of its natural form. There's a couple of YouTubers, Squat University. I've seen Squat University. Yeah, they do some like good like tutorial stuff on different exercises and stuff like that that are worth checking out. So yeah, but I don't know what you think of like, say, if your gut microbiome is good, then it's okay to have that. I've also heard cooking helps with some of these things, but I don't know. So they're saying that cooking helps break down oxalate. Cooking breaks down oxalates or something. But see, yeah, it says yes, cooking can break down oxalates, particularly through boiling or blanching, which leach soluble oxalates into the cooking water. Other cooking methods like steaming or baking reduce oxalates less efficiently than boiling. To maximize oxalate removal, the cooking liquid should be discarded and the high oxalate foods should be eaten with calcium-rich foods to reduce absorption. Yeah. Well, isn't there usually quite a lot of calcium in things like green vegetables and stuff like that? But like I said, if your gut microbiome is good, I would have thought that would be good. But yeah, like I said, switching your diet up. It says here that boiling markedly reduced soluble oxalate content by 30 to 87% and was more effective than steaming, 5 to 53%. And bacon used only for potatoes, no oxalate loss. So yeah, so you can like help to reduce some oxalates and by doing that, but also like I said, so it's just I don't know whether is it a good idea to so let's see what about beetroot high in oxalates or something. So yeah, it says its greens are the highest in oxalate or something, and can contribute to calcium oxalate kidney stones. People with a history of these stones are advised to limit their beetroot consumption. While it's not necessary to completely exclude oxalate-rich foods, individuals with high oxalate stones should consume them in moderation. Right. Anyway, is everybody okay then? Yeah. So it says if you've got like oxalate stones or something about severe back pain or side pain, blood in your urine, frequent urination, nausea or vomiting. Is there like other ones that could? Well, I've heard some about. I think it's citrulline. That's supposed to be. Let's have a look into that. So citrulline. Let's see. So a non-essential amino acid naturally produced by the body and found in foods like watermelon, which plays a key role in the urea cycle for ammonia excretion. Supplementation with L-citrulline can increase nitric oxide production, which relaxes blood vessels to improve blood flow and is used for athletic performance, blood pressure reduction, and potentially excretile function. L-citrulline is a precursor to L-arginine and has shown promise in managing protein metabolism and supporting cardiovascular and metabolic health. So yeah, so citrulline I've heard is there's one called citrulline malate as well. So I don't know if it's worth taking like that supplement potentially for the yeah, said to be a intermediary of the Krebs cycle. And another, are you on about what's it called? Calisthenic movement, are you talking about? I think we can deal with a bit of oxalates. Yeah, like I said, if your diet is pretty good and your gut microbiome is pretty healthy, then it's probably not worth worrying about too much. But like I said, there's a thing called citrulline or L-citrulline or citrulline malate or whatever. There's different forms, but yeah. So citrulline, how much can it improve VO2 max? It says it doesn't significantly improve VO2 max, with studies finding no consistent or conclusive effects on maximal oxygen uptake, while some research suggests chronic supplementation may improve exercise time to exhaustion and fatigue tolerance in endurance activities by affecting VO2 kinetics and reducing perceived exertion. the impact on actual VO2 max is not a primary or proven benefit. Reduce the amount of oxygen necessary, something like that. So just beetroot, rhubarb, and some nuts, legumes, peanut have a lot, right? And about what are you talking about? You're on about oxalates or something, or Lee Wyland, he is a gymnast, does good core work systems, right? Okay, we'll have to check that out. Yeah, no, citrulline malate doesn't reduce the amount of oxygen your body needs. Instead, it improves oxygen efficiency by increasing nitric oxide production, which enhances vasodilation and blood flow to muscles, improve delivery and utilization of oxygen, along with better ATP regeneration. And ammonia clearance reduces fatigue and allows for greater work capacity during exercise. So, to see like if it can make you faster. To help you get faster by improving blood flow, oxygen delivery, and muscle endurance, particularly during high intensity or repeated exercise. Research indicates that regular intake, as opposed to a single dose, is more effective before improving performance in activities like cycling and team sports by delaying fatigue. So, yeah. I don't know. It's just I don't know whether I should buy it or not. It's saying about feeling less tired. So being able to go faster and feel less tired. I mean, that'd be good, right? To be able to do that. What's the citrulline malate, the most misused weapon in anaerobic performance? So let's see about like more about this stuff. So talking about the process of removing ammonia from the body happens like this. Ammonia converts to carbamyl phosphate. Carbamyl phosphate reacts with ornithine, resulting in L-citrulline. L-citrulline reacts with aspartate to form argininosuccinate. Argininosuccinate breaks down into fumarate and arginine. Arginine breaks down to form urea and ornithine. Ornithine starts the process over by reacting with carbamyl phosphate. I was reading about peptides and Cooper peptide with vitamin C. I don't know, it starts getting a bit kind of I've heard some of this stuff is a bit dodgy, so I've got to be a bit careful with like I don't know. basically, like, if it's starting to get like unnatural, then I would question it. But anyway, I'm just looking at sort of conclusion. Like every other effective supplement ingredient, you have to know the effective dose as well as the effective timing of ingestion. Citrulline malate can be a very useful tool in your arsenal of performance and um, recovery enhancing instruments, but only if you're willing to use it the way science has shown it to be effective. There's a blah 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 blah. But yeah, just saying that you have to do it at the right time or something. Saying that works when you use it the right way. Oh, really? I don't know. It's just that some things I find a bit kind of, like if you're trying to like artificially make your muscles get bigger or things like that, and people talking about peptides and these different research chemicals and different things like that we don't know the long term effects of them. So even if there's some short term benefit, is it worth risking potentially having something bad happening? I don't know, but maybe I'm being a bit cautious or something, but it's just to me, it's just like a gateway into steroids and things like that and SARMs and stuff like that, is how I'm seeing it. And TRT, it's like I don't know. I just feel like it's a bit of a slippery slope, these sort of things, People starting to normalize unnatural things like that. I don't know. But then again, you could say citrulline malate. I mean, the thing is that you can get it from food. Like you can get like certain foods have it. Like watermelon, it was saying, it has citrulline in it. Boost nitric oxide naturally. So, but it says things like citrus fruits, pomegranates, nuts, and dark chocolate also help by stabilizing nitric oxide, regular exercise, sunlight exposure, and limiting mouthwash use also support nitric oxide production. Yeah, I've heard about the whole thing of mouthwash. Have you heard about that, guys? That it says here, some mouthwashes can kill bacteria and oral bacteria responsible for converting dietary nitrates into nitrites, an intermediate step in nitric oxide production. So I don't know if you use mouthwash, but maybe it's not good to use it a lot because it can destroy the good bacteria in your mouth that convert nitrates into nitrite. And nitrite turns to nitric oxide. So yeah, so you could look at foods that are high in nitrate-rich foods. Obviously, beetroot is one of them, but see what it says of things like spinach, beets, celery, and other leafy greens. As the body converts into nitric oxide to benefit heart health by potentially lowering blood pressure and increasing blood flow. So I've already read all that stuff before, but saying things like cured meats like ham and bacon, but it's also got health risks, some of those ones as well. So you've got to be careful with that, when they've added nitrates to them. But yeah, you're probably better off having it from like things like greens and things like I mentioned. But yeah, vegetables tend to be quite high, like red beetroot, rocket, celery, lettuce, cress, chervil, and spinach. I might need to. Yeah, I've heard about that as well. But I was looking at whether that has the same benefits with like humming and nose breathing and stuff. Whether that's actually like whether that's really like gonna give you the like the cardiovascular benefits and stuff like that. I was wondering if it works the same way, but because does it just give you the benefits while you're doing it, or does the benefits actually? I don't know, because I couldn't really find much on. Like if anything, it said that it doesn't work or something. It doesn't. I don't know. I'd have to like find out something about that, because maybe I might need to do more of the humming stuff, because they say it's about 15 times more effective than nose breathing. They say to like do the humming like on the exhale or something like that. That way you can. It's a system that improves circulation health of vessels, can repair inside, right? So would that mean potentially it can help improve muscle recovery, because it would increase blood flow and increase nutrient delivery and stuff like that, and improving the body's efficiency to do all that. So so maybe it might be a good idea to like meditate and just do some of that, focusing on breathing that way and hum, and just kind of put yourself into that parasympathetic mode and enhance recovery even further by creating vasodilation. And so let's see what it's it says about humming nitric oxide. I mean, I've seen about the nitric oxide, but I'm wondering about for athletic performance. Studies have shown that humming can increase the production of nitric oxide, NO, in the nasal cavity. Nitric oxide is a molecule that helps dilate blood vessels and improve blood flow. It's also known to improve lung function and increase breath control. So does that mean that it can help with that then? That would, if you say did some like humming before a workout, could that potentially, like let's say improve the effectiveness, say if you're doing like interval training or something like that, doing sprints or whatever, and not sprints, well actually I suppose it would maybe potentially help with that as well, but like more kind of things like tempo runs and stuff like that, like a 5K or something like that, whether it could increase the efficiency of that. But anyway, so yeah, 5 to 20 minutes is what they recommend. Yeah, it's you don't really need like hours of meditation. Some people do that just because they like doing that, but you can get the benefits just with a few minutes. But yeah, how long should you hum for? It says here, it's known to be broadly antifungal, antiviral, and antibacterial. This case reports show that a subject hummed strongly at a low pitch, approximately 130 hertz, for 1 hour, 18 hums per minute, at bedtime the first night, and hummed 60 to 120 times 4 times a day for the following 4 days as a treatment for severe CRS. What's CRS? Does anyone know what that is? Keeping it simple, just the breathing and a bit of nose humming. Yeah, you don't need that much, because like I said, it's 15 times more effective. So only doing, a little bit of nose humming would basically like amplify the benefits of it massively. So yeah, so what's CRS? What's that? CRS. So it says it says about, severe CRS. I don't know. Let's see what that even means. It's some abbreviation. Oh, it says cytokine release syndrome. So this is when the immune system releases unusually large amounts of cytokines. So that might help people if they've, say, got like pneumonia and stuff like that, I guess. Possibly. Things like that. Or, yeah. Could that happen with, say, like an asthma attack as well or something? Possibly. I'm just thinking like, yeah. I think it says it can happen, but they're saying that like humming might actually mitigate some of that, possibly. So it's interesting stuff, but yeah. So I'm just wondering if humming, whether is it good for asthma? Yes, humming can be good for asthma and sinus problems because it increases nitric oxide production in the sinuses and nasal cavities. So it says it increases it in the nasal cavities, but we're going back to the thing of athletic performance. Does it then go into like the body? I'm just wondering, like in the actual going to your system. Nitric oxide. Hang on. Nasal nitric oxide. Does it improve athletic performance? It says especially endurance, but so it's saying about the oxygen delivery. So it looks like it can do. So yeah, so what we're saying is that you can get some of those benefits just from humming. So you don't necessarily need to be downing a whole bunch of beetroot juice or something. I mean, maybe that could be good as well, but yeah. It says here about nasal breathing for runners to improve efficiency. Well, I guess that's just, they might be talking about improving, performance with nose breathing or something. And I try to nose breathe as much as I can, but sometimes if you're running quite fast, then it's not really possible. But let's see. I'm talking, about like sort of humming before a run. So to see what it says about humming increasing NO levels by as much as 15 times, what I was saying about that, compared to quiet exhalation. This increase in NO, which acts as a vasodilator and bronchodilator, can improve circulation in open airways, which can be beneficial before a run. So whether it can make you faster or something. So yeah, and it talks about the post-workout recovery, the anti-inflammatory properties, reduce muscle soreness and aid in the recovery process after exercise. So maybe that can indirectly improve progression, because if you can keep recovering more, then therefore you're able to do it more and be able to get more benefits out of it, possibly. Obviously I'm no expert on this, I'm just kind of come up with theories and stuff, and I don't want to come to any conclusions really, but yeah. trying to do research, you know. Yeah, something. So it's just saying. It's saying though about direct studies on whether it makes you faster in a runner limited. So yeah, so I'm just curious about that. Vibrations from oscillation in the nasal cavities, which prompts nitric oxide production and helps carry it to lungs and inhale, potentially increasing oxygen delivery to muscles. So, but yeah, I guess it's just not really been a lot of like studies on this stuff. It was what it's saying, because it is quite a niche sort of thing, isn't it? It's not really something a lot of people would have thought about. Hang on, why don't we, test out and see? We'll do a group of people. They'll do some, humming before they go for a run or something. What's it? What car are you talking? Honda? What do you mean? Humming, like, and then one group doesn't hum, and then they see if they go faster or something. It says here, once in the lungs, nitric oxide helps increase gas exchange, allowing your body to absorb more oxygen and expel carbon dioxide more efficiently. So I'm wondering if, like, yeah, what is it? Yeah, I hope everyone's well today. Anyway, if you're new here, please subscribe. That would be really appreciated. Humming with, yeah. So like, how long does the benefits of humming work for? Or nitric oxide. I mean, how long does it last? Is what I'm wondering. Well, it says here that nitric oxide levels that decline over several seconds, with the overall NO concentration in the paranasal sinuses rebuilding to a maximum after about 4.5 minutes of silence. While the immediate effects are brief, repeated humming can produce a stronger, longer-lasting therapeutic effect by increasing the continuous contribution of NO from the sinuses. So, yeah. So I'm wondering, like, yeah, cytokine storms the immune response, yeah. So is it does that mean that if you was to say, like, try and do your humming, say, before a exercise, that wouldn't really benefit it that much because they pretty quickly or something? You can't really be doing it whilst you're running. I mean, I couldn't imagine humming every time I breathe out or something. Hello, me, how you doing? Good morning to you. Is it, so if, say humming for like a certain amount of time, how long does that nitric oxide stay in your system for, I guess, is what I'm curious about, like, to actually kind of, and then it's saying here that it does not improve, hang on, saying that it, let's see, well, this is on the NIH, so PubMed, so does not improve short-term cognitive performance or influence emotional processing. Well, that's something different. But I like to try and get to the bottom of things and try and, when I don't know for certain, it can bug me sometimes, because I'm like, well, what is the answer, So yeah, but they're saying about, having, 15 times more nitric oxide than a silent exhale. But does it last to improve running performance? Hi Emily, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. So yeah. So I'm just looking at like the thing called like humming to like improve nitric oxide production. So yeah. Well, some people try and nose breathe whilst they're running, and then maybe there's some benefit to that if you're going at a certain level. I mean, this is the thing is they say like how it can be hard to get enough oxygen through your nose if you're not used to it. But I think over time your nose becomes more efficient or something like that. Yeah. Let's see, so nitric oxide can reduce the oxygen cost of exercise and improve the function of energy producing mitochondria. So this is what we were talking about before about the energy cost or something. So what was it? The oxygen cost, I mean. So I'm just kind of wondering if it's, yeah, nitric oxide, oxygen cost. Or oxygen efficiency. Is everybody okay? Yeah. But yeah, anyway, so welcome in. We'll be getting off soon. But yeah. Let's say in here about endogenously produced NO in the heart reduces myocardial oxygen demand by increasing the efficiency of heart muscle contraction and improving the heart's ability to stretch and relax. So maybe that's why it could possibly reduce blood pressure. Is that right then? So does that mean that, yeah, nitric oxide or nasal nitric oxide might reduce blood pressure or something? Let's see about humming nitric oxide and blood pressure. Humming can help lower blood pressure by stimulating the production of nitric oxide and increasing vagal tone, which relaxes blood vessels and promotes calm. Humming generates vibrations in the nasal sinuses, significantly increasing nasal nitric oxide, a natural vasodilator that improves blood flow and lowers blood pressure. This also activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for the body's rest and digest functions, further contributing to a decrease in heart rate and blood pressure. This might be a good idea to combine with meditation, and I'm guessing you might even get more benefits. Okay, yeah, you take care then. Let's go CTO. So So there seems like there's multifaceted benefits of nitric oxide, but yeah, that's just something that I'm been kind of looking into really. But yeah, let's say in practicing humming for a minute or two a few times a day can be beneficial. So you don't have to do tons of it, but yeah. Or Japanese meditation, I've never heard it. Suzuki Roshi. It reminds me of a car called Suzuki. Remember Suzuki Swift? And there was one called Suzuki Vitara, I think it was called. But anyway, yeah, so yeah, there was one called the Pikes Peak Suzuki or something. Like it was that's what they called it. It was like a rally car or something. It has this like massive spoiler on it. It's like friggin' huge. I don't know why they just put a massive spoiler on the back of it. It looks ridiculous, actually. Kind of. Oh, is it Shunryu Suzuki? All right. Not overly complicated. Okay. Oh, cool. Beginner's mind Zen meditation. All right. Okay, cool. There was one that I was looking into called Yoga Nidra, which is like a sort of, it's about getting you into a deep relaxation state. And it's said to help to like mimic some of the effects of sleep. And helps get you more deeper into that parasympathetic mode to like recover and, you know, recover like your nervous system and things like that and de-stress. So you went to USA and published a few books. Oh, cool. We'll be getting off in a second, guys, but it's really interesting talking about all these different things like nitric oxide and all that. But yeah, I just like, you know, research and stuff. Might do more of that on the live, doing live research and just kind of look into different things and yeah, see what the literature says about different things. And yeah, I like to learn and find what actually works. Zen is good as its pure focus and breathing. Yeah. Yeah, some of them can have like a mixture of different things like body scan and things like that, but yeah. I do like the body scan stuff, but it's yeah. There's another one called transcendental meditation or something, but that's like a kind of, I don't quite understand like what that's about really, but do you know anything about transcendental meditation? Isn't that like a more like, I think that's like what like the spiritual type of people use that, I think, but the whole thing of meditation, it's about trying to just focus on something. So a lot of things could be considered as like a form of meditation, even like when you're studying. If you're doing it in a more like relaxed state and you just kind of, you could see it as almost like a form of meditation. You don't have all this, it's about getting rid of the mental clutter and just can switch on that vagus nerve more. Yeah, so yeah. All right, everybody, I'll see you all later. Bye for now.